Hi, I'm Mike Dowd, Director of Business Development with CentrifugeMedia. Now, what you've just seen there probably looked really familiar to things that you've seen at any live event, from typical slides to introductions, music, etc. Well, ask yourself this question. What if you couldn't do a live event, but you still had content and message that you really had to share with your team? Or needed to conduct some sort of online training, or really need content that you could distribute to your team locally to across the world? Well, one thing I want to show you today is a technology called the Lightboard. And the Lightboard really gives us an opportunity to move from what we consider something that's very, very didactic and static to a way that you can actually use a flat screen to become much more interactive, engaging with your audience. So we're going to start off and show you about a little bit of the capability that it has. What you're seeing here in front of us is the text is coming up right before our eyes. Now, you may think I'm writing backwards, but I'm actually not. It's doing it all by itself in real time. If you notice right behind me, what you're seeing is a green screen. What's great about this is because we can drop in any kind of background and be in any type of setting we want anywhere in the world. So it can always be appropriate to what you're using for your content. It could be a background that looks something like this, or in a dust of an eye, it can look like something like this. Ideally, what we have is when we have to move to a flat screen and start to do some things virtually, we want to have that ability to be able to reach out and engage our audiences and really address those needs of the adult learner, making things much more interesting, much more engaging. In fact, as we go along, I'm going to make it a little bit easier to move through this presentation with the help of this handy little button. Let's see what we have next. So here's another thing that we can do to make it much more engaging. We can use anything from 3D imagery, renderings, which is very, very typical in our industry, able for me to be able to call out and point, to something that looks like a pretty typical PowerPoint slide. Here we're seeing an agenda where I can actually highlight or bring attention to anything on here. Or something we always see, charts and graphs. Now, one way to increase retention of that information is to be able to go ahead and write something down. We know that anytime something's written down, it's easier for the learner to be able to capture and hold that in their brain. So for example, on what we're seeing right here, we can go ahead and actually notate this right on the board in real time. So some things that we want to call out, well, we want to be able to optimize. We want to be able to protect. And we want to be able to grow. And all of these things are going to help lead us to a really productive fourth quarter. So what you're seeing here in a very, very flat screen environment, a way to be able to take something virtually and still really drive that return on emotion. Ask us a little bit more how to do it.